Hi kids, for today's activity we're going to paint penguins on a block of ice. So we're going to need a few supplies. First of all, we're going to need a painting palette to make our different colored paints. We're also going to need a few different colors of paint. We're also going to need a cup of water to rinse our brushes, a few brushes as well, and we're also going to need a few sheets of paper to draw our penguins on, and another sheet to protect our table. More precisely, we're going to need all sorts of different colors. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of white, and then I'm going to start with a little bit of blue. Great. Then I'm going to take also a little bit of black. And I'm also going to get a little bit of maybe yellow for his feet and for his beak. Nice. And next I'm going to take a little bit now of red for his bonnet. Perfect. A little bit of green. And here we go. We're also going to need some brushes, so a thick brush to draw the penguins in the background, also a medium-sized brush, and smaller brushes to draw the details within the penguin. So if you don't have different size brushes, don't worry, we can just use one and clean it off, while we're painting, so you can only use one, that's fine. We're also going to need a glass of water so we can rinse our brushes, and a sheet of paper for our drawing, and a larger sheet of paper to protect our workstation. Great, so let's take first our bigger paintbrush, and we're going to dab in a little bit of water, not too much, and just dab it into some blue paint so we can start making the really cold kind of blue waterscape. So dip it and just paint right across, left to right, and here we're making kind of the ice cold blue of where the penguins live. So I'm just doing kind of rough brush strokes, which makes the water look a little bit more agitated. And just keep kind of, taking a little bit more water and paint and brushing right through, back and forth. Perfect. And we're not going to add too much paint either to our paintbrush, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the extra paint to create our glacier for where the penguins live. Look how cold that water looks. It looks really, really Arctic, doesn't it? Perfect. Just smoothing out the edges here so the water looks nice and full. Perfect. Covering over the little white spots. So now we're going to take our brush and we're basically going to just go right across from right to left and add all of the leftover paint to make our glacier. So start right up here on the upper left-hand side, push down, and just go back and forth, and kind of just pat in random little directions here to get the paint off of your brush. And this is going to make like a kind of like an icy texture, so we know that there's a glacier behind us where the penguins live. Perfect, so just back and forth, get some of the paint right off of that brush. Make a little structure like that. Looks like an icicle. Perfect. And then we have the white of the sky on the upper right-hand side. Great. So now that we have our background, we're going to start painting our penguins. So I'm going to take a slightly skinnier brush here. And I'm going to start, I guess, with a little bit of black paint. So let's dab our brushes, take a little bit of black, and we're going to do our first penguin, which is going to be the dad. So Papa Penguin is going to be, I guess, a little bit bigger than the other ones, and his shape pretty much looks like Casper the Ghost. It's like an oval that isn't completed. So just go up and around. Perfect. So that's our first penguin shape. And then we're going to kind of finish him off on the bottom. Add a wing on the right-hand side, and then another little wing on the left-hand side with my extra paint here. Perfect. So to make the wings, just draw lines that kind of jut straight out of his body. Perfect. Kind of just filling it in to look nice and even on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. Awesome. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of detailing to his head. So it's like a little kind of upside down triangle because, you know, penguins are black and white and they have these kind of geometric spots on them. So right there on top of his head, you can just paint in a little reverse triangle. And 2 dashes for his eyes. Perfect. So now we're going to grab another little skinny brush and we're going to do other detailing in yellow. So let's grab some water. Grab a little yellow paint. And if you don't have a second brush, don't worry, but it makes it a little bit easier. And here we're going to just do a little bit of a line for his beak and 2 little circles for his feet. Great. A little bit more yellow so it really pops out. And pat right over it. Awesome. So now I'm going to take my black brush and I'm just going to add in a few little details to the rest of my penguin. So what you can do is actually always leave your black and yellow brush on the side. You'll need them for all of our other penguins. So here I'm just outlining his little beak and putting some dashes on his toes. You see that? So now we have all of the details of our first penguin. And now we can draw our second penguin, which is going to be Mama Penguin. So just adding a little bit of water here. And I'm going to draw my Mama Penguin right next to Papa. So the same thing, we're going to do that kind of cylindrical shape. Up and over, nice and easy. She's kind of a little bit smaller than Papa. 2 wings, which are like triangles, so just fill them right in like airplane wings almost. And on the other side. And fill them in, perfect. So we're gonna just draw now our little reverse triangle up the top of the penguin head. And 2 little dashes for the eyes. And our yellow detailing. So I'm thinking I want the mama penguin to look kind of feminine. Have a little detail where we know she's the mama. So I think we're going to give her maybe a little bit of a red bonnet afterwards. If you want to think of another detail to make your mama penguin look a little bit more mama-like. Perfect. So I'm just going to run over it with my black pen. Take my paintbrush. Add a little bit more black to do a tiny little detail right there on her beak and on her feet. Great. So now I'm going to take a new paintbrush, and if you don't have another one, don't worry, you can rinse your existing one, and we're going to add some red paint to do the bonnet. And then we're going to do some other details also for the other penguins that are coming up. So let's dab a little bit of water here. Maybe you want to make a pink bonnet, maybe you want to make, you know, a little lipstick, you could do whatever you want. I'm just going to make her little pom-pom bonnet right on top of her head. Up and over, like a little ball. And fill it right in. Perfect. Then it's not really a real hat if it doesn't have a little ball resting right up top. She's got to be super cold down there, especially since penguins are going in and out of that freezing cold water all day, getting fish, hunting, swimming. They must be totally freezing. So we're going to give her a little bit of a bonnet. Perfect. Okay, so I think now next to Mama, we're going to make the little baby penguin. So I'm going to take my black again and make, I think, a smaller shape for the little baby. And you can make your family however you want. Maybe you want it to be 4 babies. Maybe you want it to be just mamas and papas. I think I'm going to draw the whole family all together. So I'm just going to make my penguin shape definitely a little bit smaller. And also, penguin babies have much less white than the adult babies. So I'm going to make my penguin almost entirely black with little teeny wings. My baby penguin is still pretty small. Great. 2 little eyes. And since he's the baby, he's super small and it's super, super cold, I'm also going to give him maybe a little detail like I did the mom. But first things first, he needs a beak and some feet. Great. And a little bit of the detailing right there on his beak and on his feet. Little tiny baby penguin. You know, penguins are one of the few species that stay together for their entire lives. So it's kind of like human beings. Like when a mama penguin and when a papa penguin get married, they stay together. It's really cool. Okay, so little baby penguin here is freezing. He's, brand new to the world. We're going to give him a scarf because his mom is worried about him getting a cold because he's just so young. So I'm grabbing some of this green paint and a little bit of water. Up. And I'm going to give him a little scarf just like this. I'm going to do kind of a crisscross right over his chest. Right over. And on the other side. Perfect. Okay. So now we have 3 little members of our family. And I have some more room here on the left, so I think I'm going to make another. Take a little bit more of my black. And here I'm going to make a big sister. So let's just set her up right here, up and over, that same penguin shape. So you see she's much bigger than the baby. So this is the big sister that's going to take care of her new baby brother. 2 wings on either side, facing downwards. 2 dots for the eyes. Perfect. And a little bit of yellow for her beak and for her toes. She's still bigger than the baby, but she's not as big as her mom and dad. And a little bit more black here just to do the detailing so that beak really pops out. Okay, perfect. So I think the sister is like kind of funky. I'm going to give her a little accessory as well. Maybe, yeah, give her a little pink hat because she's super girly. So just right around her head, just like her mom's, but a little bit smaller. Perfect. I'm going to color it in. Give her a little pom-pom, like a real winter hat. Awesome. Okay. So I think we have room for one more penguin here on our seascape. Oh, you know what? Let's do some little polka dots here. I'm going to add a little white polka dot here to her beret. That way she's a little bit different from her mom. Awesome. Perfect. So you can decorate your little winter accessories however you want to. So now we have our 4 little penguins. And since we still have some room on the left, I think I'm going to make the grandpa. Since penguins really like to stay together in their families, it's really kind of, expected that, 3 generations of penguins might live together. So the grandma, the grandpa, the parents, and the kids, which is kind of amazing and not so different from humans, actually. Okay, so let's make our little grandpa here. Oh, and he's got that little reverse triangle right there. You know what? I forgot to put it on the sister and on our little baby. Can't forget that little triangle. Perf. And we're going to give him some wings. But Grandpa, he's a little bit older, so I need to find a way to make him look a little older. We're going to do his little eyes. Let's do his beak. And his little feet. Perfect. Then I think, maybe a little mustache might make him look old. I don't know if penguins really have mustaches, but my little grandpa penguin does. Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to curl it up with a little bit of water. Perfect. There he is. He almost looks like a little French penguin. French or old. Awesome. So my penguin family is almost complete. Look how cute they look. So now what we're going to do is, penguins definitely need to hunt and fish and eat. So we need to add a few other things to our seascape. First things first is a sun to keep them warm. Because even in the Arctic, even though there's tons of ice and kind of frozen components to the environment, there's definitely still sun. So I'm just going to do a big kind of yellow circle here. Make sure my brush is clean. And then just jut out the sunbeams right from the middle of my sun. Perfect. And now a little bit of food so that the papa penguin can hunt and fish for his family to keep him nice and fed, especially for the baby penguin. He's growing, so he definitely needs some food. So here I'm going to do 2 little red fish, so a circle, and then fill that in, and then basically a little bit of a triangle to make the tail right at the end. So let me show you how that's done. And filling it in, just like that. And then a second little one right next door, because fishes usually, they swim in schools of fish. So they're usually not too far from each other. Perfect. Now I'm just going to do a few more outlines here to make my little fish eyes. And a little smile. Perfect. Awesome job, you guys. So here, kiddos, is our penguin family. I hope you had a really great time making them today. I'd love to see your artwork, so send it in to tutokid.com. Hope to see you soon.